Today we're breaking down one of the most unpredictable, chaotic, and downright confusing fantasy teams of the entire 2025 NFL season, the Washington Commanders. A team that finished 5-12, yet somehow produced league-winning waiver pickups, weekly heartbreak, and a backfield that kept us guessing every Sunday. This is everything you need to know about the 2025 Commanders and what it means heading into 2026. Let's start with the big picture, because this offense was a roller coaster. The 2025 Commanders offense took a major step back after their 2024 breakout. Jayden Daniels entered the season as a consensus top 10 fantasy quarterback. Some even argued top 5, but injuries derailed both his season and Washington's offensive identity. Add in injuries to Terry McLaurin and Austin Ekeler, and the entire unit lost rhythm, consistency, and fantasy reliability. Washington's passing attack struggled across the board, finishing 24th with 3,329 passing yards, 28th with just 19 passing touchdowns, and only 469 pass attempts, leaving them 31st, just ahead of the Baltimore Ravens. The lack of volume and efficiency crushed fantasy value across the receiving room and made the offense painfully one-dimensional. But the rushing attack, elite, where Washington fell apart through the air, they dominated on the ground. 4.73 yards per carry, 20 rushing touchdowns, and 134.7 rushing yards per game. This team could run. They just couldn't scare anyone through the air. Marcus Mariota and Jayden Daniels split the season like a timeshare nobody wanted. Jayden Daniels' one true standout came in Week 6 versus Chicago. He had 119.2 QBR, 3 touchdowns, a QB5 finish with 22.6 fantasy points. Outside of that, flashes, but no stability. Marcus Mariota's Week 13 was his moment, with 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, a quarterback 3 finish, with 24.3 fantasy points. He brought short area accuracy and mobility, but not enough to elevate the offense. The bottom line, neither quarterback consistently hit 200 passing yards, neither stabilized the offense, and for fantasy, it was the kind of weekly gamble that makes you question your life choices at 12:58 on a Sunday. With Austin Ekeler going down early, Washington shifted into a true 3-man committee. Jakobi Merritt, aka Bill, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Jeremy McNichols. Jakobi Merritt, a waiver wire hero, he flashed in preseason, ran angry, immediately made note in Week 1. He had 10 carries for 82 yards and 1 touchdown. He outperformed Austin Ekeler, who had just 6 carries and 3 catches. Week 2, Ekeler tears his Achilles, and Bill becomes the hottest waiver pickup in fantasy, but the hype didn't fully translate. He only had 3 double-digit fantasy games after Week 2. His best game came in Week 5 with 150 total yards, 2 touchdowns for 25 fantasy points. Just 2 100-yard rushing games the rest of the season left us wanting more. Bill's season finished like this: 805 rushing yards, 23rd in the NFL, 8 rushing touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry, 47.4 rushing yards per game, 31st in fantasy, and 21 receptions for 168 receiving yards. He finished with 142.3 fantasy points, putting him in the running back 33 range. A waiver wire win, but not a league winner. Chris Rodriguez Jr. was a reliable power complement, totaling 500 rushing yards with 6 touchdowns, averaging 4.3 yards per carry. Jeremy McNichols, with sneaky efficiency, had a team best 5.0 yards per carry and 11.5 receiving yards per game. It didn't feel special week to week, but the Commanders' running back numbers deserve some attention. 4th in rushing yards per game, 5th in yards per carry, and 8th in rushing touchdowns. Let's talk wide receivers. Terry McLaurin held out at minicamp, signed late, then suffered a quad injury in Week 3. He missed 7 total games and never found rhythm. His best game came in Week 13, where he had 7 catches on 14 targets, 96 yards, and 1 touchdown. His totals: 38 catches, 582 yards, 3 touchdowns, 114 fantasy points. A massive drop from his wide receiver 7 finish in 2024. Deebo Samuel came over from San Francisco in the offseason. Deebo did Deebo things. He was the one guy you could plug in and trust. He finished wide receiver 25 in fantasy with 188.2 points. He had 727 receiving yards, just 5 touchdowns, 72 receptions with 10.1 yards per catch and 466 yards after the catch. a steady wide receiver 2 with weekly upside, the only trustworthy pass catcher on the roster. Zach Ertz, another year older, remained productive. He finished with 50 catches for 504 yards. He also had 10.1 yards per catch, 3 top 5 tight end weeks, and 7 top 16 tight end finishes. No other receivers topped 225 yards, and only 7 combined receiving touchdowns from the rest of the room. The defense was bad for the NFL, but great for IDP. Washington's defense was a matchup target all season, allowing 451 points, 6,533 yards. They allowed 29.3 points per game and 4.9 yards per carry to the running back. But in IDP, Bobby Wagner had 162 tackles, totaling 235.5 IDP points. An elite linebacker 1, finishing number 5 overall. Mike Sainristil, a ball hawk rookie, had 4 interceptions, scoring 132.8 IDP points. The defense was unplayable, but individual defenders were gold. Cliff Kingsbury is out, and David Blough is in, shifting the offense away from shotgun-heavy looks and putting Jayden Daniels under center more often. Expect more play action, less chaos, and fewer save-us Jayden moments. Washington holds the 7th overall pick, likely targeting an edge rusher like Ruben Bain from Miami, David Bailey from Stanford, or even Arvell Reese from the Ohio State. They have 6 total picks, but only 2 in the top 100. Key off-season needs would be a wide receiver to pair with Terry McLaurin, as Deebo is a free agent this season. With Marcus Lattimore likely cut and Trey Amos returning from a broken leg, secondary help is a must. With the right moves, this team hopes to bounce back and return as a strong threat in the NFC East as just a season ago. Your 2025 season takeaways were Jakobi Merritt, the waiver pickup, Deebo Samuel, a steady wide receiver 2, and Bobby Wagner, an elite tackle machine. For Jayden Daniels, the hope is simple: a return to the 2024 rookie year magic we didn't get to see in 2025. The 2025 Washington Commanders were chaotic, frustrating, and somehow still fantasy relevant. They didn't give you stability, but they gave you storylines. And with the right draft moves in 2026, this team could look very different and a whole lot more dangerous. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Who will be the Commanders' fantasy stud next year?